Breaking news, Canada still sucks, and Mark Carney still hasn't really done that much. Let's take a look. We have a few videos here, a few things planned. This title of the video, Bloodbath. Economists react to massive job loss. This was posted just 5 hours ago. Let's take a look. Not good.
It's the biggest Canadian job loss in 4 years and the largest in decades outside of the pandemic. The economy lost more than 80,000 jobs last month, a sign the trade war is having an impact. CTV's Stefan Keys is here now with more. Steph.
Patricia, as you know, we've been covering the turnout at job fairs in our city, and today we're learning the high turnout isn't just happening here in the capital. The number of job seekers is growing across the country. The unemployment rate unexpectedly increased to 6.7% in February. That's up from 6.5% in January. That resulted in a loss.
And remember, the unemployment rate only counts people actively looking for a job. It doesn't even include the people who have given up.
Of 84,000 jobs right across the country. Still,
that is a massive loss. 84,000 jobs in 1 month. Wow.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is defending his government's economic record.
If you look at the performance of the labor market over the course of the last 6 months, we've created over 80,000 jobs net over the last 6 months. The United States has created 6,000. Given the scale,
I do not know where he's getting those numbers from, because at least I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT can hallucinate, but I asked this question twice. Net jobs created last 6 months, Canada and USA, just provide number. Canada plus 81, so it sounds like Carney's number there matches up with this. US plus 110,000 jobs doesn't match up with the 6,000 Carney mentioned there. 110K in America over 6 months, that's still actually not good, but I don't know where Carney got that 6,000 figure from.
Of the trade actions, the uncertainty that is associated as well as with the trade actions by the United States, that is causing big adjustments in the Canadian economy.
Oh my gosh, how's that Davos speech working out? The rupture, the middle powers. That Davos speech was such a disaster. Now we're all paying for it.
That's how Carney responded when he was asked about the job numbers when he was speaking to reporters in Norway today. He also said the unemployment rate is lower than when he came into office last year, which is true, but economists say this is still a worrying sign.
Oh, this was definitely a weak report. I mean, there are no two ways about this. I would not sugarcoat it. It is actually, outside of the pandemic, one of the biggest monthly declines that we have ever seen in employment in Canada, even when you adjust it for the size of the population.
Poilievre also criticizing Carney, calling today's job outlook terrible news, and some economists have even gone as far as to call it a bloodbath. Even then, the national unemployment rate is down slightly from where it was a year ago, and hourly wages are actually up 3.9% year over year. So those who do have a job are making more money, but that's likely of little comfort to the young people who are struggling to enter the job market or those who have been let go, Patricia.
All right, CTV
Is that increase, though, even keeping up with the inflation in, for example, food? I'm not so sure. And then he brought up the youth employment. One quick point, though. I think if you're the Canadian government and you say things like, oh, the trade tensions or the uncertainty with the Americans, then you have to, I think, accept blame for that stupid Davos speech.
Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot...
Okay, then you cannot complain about U.S. trade tensions, I don't think, when that speech is going to make them worse. You can't have it both ways, because that Davos speech was essentially, let's have more tension with America. That's basically what that entire speech was about. And then when these numbers come out, oh, but it's because of our trade relationship with America. Give me a break. We'll play a little bit of this video here talking about the youth unemployment rate.
If I'm lucky.
The latest report shows the youth unemployment rate crossed the 13% mark in December.
creeping up 0.5% since November. Some youth say they'd leave Canada if the right employment opportunity arose.
You know, if I get a good offer, I might go overseas, to be honest. I like living here, but you know, it's so hard.
If the opportunities are better, I would consider moving out of Canada.
In Calgary,
Of course. It seems like the new Canadian dream is to leave. Canada's weak employment numbers came up today in question period. Take a look at how the Liberal responds to this. Amazing. In a bad way.
Honourable Member for Calgary-Coalfoot.
Mr. Speaker, this morning's job numbers are a scathing indictment of this Liberal government's economic performance. 108,000 full-time jobs lost, the largest one-month drop since the beginning of COVID, and youth unemployment is now over 14%. We have the only shrinking economy in the G7, and we have the second highest unemployment. So, will the Liberals accept our Conservative proposals, including our youth jobs plan, and remove the taxes, red tape, and bureaucracies that are killing Canadian jobs?
The Honourable Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, as the Honourable Opposition knows, there's a war raging that's affecting prices everywhere.
What a terrible way to start your remarks. The war that started 11 days ago, 15 days ago, whatever it was? Are you kidding?
This chaos, Canada's in a strong position. Why? Because we prepared. We invested in jobs and industries like auto, steel, and aluminum. We made sure to keep life affordable for all Canadians with our...
We make sure to keep life affordable for all Canadians. That's like offensive to hear, to be honest.
Food, groceries, and essentials benefit for 12 million Canadians. We're cutting taxes. You know why, Mr. Speaker? We have a plan. Preparing before a crisis is our way. Complaining after a crisis is theirs. Get on board.
What a terrible answer. 0 out of 10. Unbelievable. It makes me question if that guy even knows basic economics. The war? What? Why don't you bring up the hockey game? As you know, our hockey team lost about a month ago to the Americans, and the morale in Canada has never been the same since. Few more things. Check out this chart from X. Wow, this chart is simply unreal. Has Canada already joined the EU, or did it decide to successfully deindustrialize on its own? Investment in industrial machinery and equipment volumes. Check this out. 85. Again, this tracks actually with GDP quite closely. USA versus Canada. We were always pretty much the same as America, always a little bit behind, but being just a little behind America is actually a massive win on a ton of different metrics. GDP per capita certainly being one of those metrics. Take a look at this. Sometime according to this chart, maybe in 2009, 2011, maybe it looks like, just Canada went off of a cliff here and America continued its basically 45-degree trajectory upwards. Crazy. That's investment in industrial machinery and equipment. I've actually talked to people, by the way, that work in an industry that would be affected by that. They say that. They have all old stuff. Canada doesn't invest in the industrial capacity of the country. It's very sad. But anyway, with that said, I'll finish my video here. Please like, please subscribe. Have a great day.